Welcome to Catch Her Spark with Jen Maldonado. These are conversations with women who are building meaningful careers, stepping into leadership, and designing life on their own.
Oh my God, today we have an amazing guest. And I gotta tell you, she had two successful dental practices, a life she built in a small town in Illinois, and a product. Oh my God, you guys are gonna love this. She was just about to launch, right? But then 2020 happened, personally and globally at the same time. And one of the things I love about her story that is that instead of stopping, she just kept going and trying and learning. So she went through divorce, through a pandemic, through a starting over in ways most people never have to. So she's a dentist who got tired of watching patients care more about their lipstick than their smile. So she did an amazing thing about it. She invented a product that does both of them. It's called Louis, and she named this product in honor of her dad, and she holds 3 patents on it. So she did not just build a brand. She built something that came from 20 years of looking into people's mouth and understanding something deeper. That smile is not just dental health, it's confidence. And it's how you show up into the world. So let's welcome Dr. Amanda Lewis. How are you today?
I'm doing well. That was a great introduction. I feel like I should have you give me a pep talk every morning before I start my day.
Hey, we need that. We need that. And you know, one of the things that a lot of women struggle, Dr. Amanda, it's in fact that we forgot how wonderful we are in every aspect, in the small thing and the big things. And what I have seen you is that you are relentless when it comes to learning and trying new things. And I think that women needs to hear your story. Do you want to share how this transition happened to you?
Sure. Sure. I have been a dentist since I graduated in 2004, which seems like a long time ago, but it was when I was in second grade. I went to my dad and I was like, I want to be a dentist. And he goes, you want to be a hygienist? And I'm like, no, I want to be a dentist like your friend. And one of his best friends was our dentist. And so he goes, oh, okay. And I was like, okay. And so, as a driven young thing that was pretty good at science and a little bit artistic in that way, which dentistry does let you create. I went through school. I went and graduated, went into undergrad knowing I was going into dental school. So was able to do a 3 or 4 year program and get out a year early. Worked in the St. Louis area near where I did schooling. So spent the better part of a decade in that area in school. And then right afterwards, worked for another doctor, but then new entrepreneurial spirit. My father owned his own pharmacies, so I wanted to own my own business as well. By the time so I graduated middle of 2020 or middle of 2004. By 2006, I bought my first dental practice. Ended up working in that small town in central Illinois for the better part of 2 decades, and that's where I built everything up. I ended up buying and merging some practices together, opened up a second location, started with a team of 4 and expanded that to a team of about 20 with 2 other doctors and, in 2 locations. So it was a lot to learn and to do, but it was something that I continued to learn about business along the way. Dentistry, they do a pretty good job of teaching you how to get out and to do some things, but that again requires a lot of continuing education and continual lifelong learning. The business side of it, they don't teach you very much. I remember my first year of the first practice. After that first year, I met with my accountant and, we were talking about things and he goes, yeah, I don't know, you're looking at about like 30 for taxes. I'm like, 30 what? And then he goes, 1,000. And I'm like, dollars? And I was like, what? So I had taken out a loan to buy the practice because that's what you do. Dentistry is luckily a very good business. So you can fund it and, banks get behind you and it was great. So I'd made some money, but I paid off part of my loan. I didn't set aside tax money for that. I didn't know I had to. I'm like, there's still the same amount of money in the checking account as when we started. And so that was a big awakening for me. And, so learned over those first few years of business, I was doing my own payroll. I was, working with my accountant on my own taxes. I had not properly balanced a checkbook for the first year. So, just those things. I was 25 or 26 years old. And, at that point, it was learning through that, growing, bringing people on. That was the first, I guess, step in my entrepreneurial journey. So definitely kind of a rocky one, but yeah, I made it through those first years, maybe not so gracefully, but again, dentistry is a good business. It has been, it continues to be. And it was good that there was a little cushion built into that, because otherwise I wouldn't have done very well. So yeah, but as I grew through that, at the time I was married. I ended up having 2 children, ended up growing the practices, bringing more people in, and, got to a point where I had this idea for a lip balm and dental floss 2-in-1 way back before I had kids. But I mean, as most women know, there's a lot on our plates. You go start having kids, you've got a business, you've, got responsibilities. It just stayed in my head. And at some point, like 2018, 2019, 2018, probably 2017, I started thinking, how could I bring this to life? I wonder if I could do this. So I kind of started looking at a patent. I started looking at different things, and, still full-time practice at the time, everything, 2 kids, married. Ended up working with a patent attorney, got it patented, yay for me. Found somebody to help me manufacture it in Central Illinois. It was an automotive parts manufacturer, because I just didn't have any connections, and they could do injection molding. So I was like, all right, great. So the first one, though, that we pushed out, we started to see like, oh, people, yay, they liked it, brought it into some retail, set up a website, did all that stuff. When it went to, it was girlfriends of mine that we put it together. We had like a food safe kitchen that we melted the lip balm, and we made it all together. And when we went to go make it a little bigger, we realized it was not scalable on a large scale. So, that's a setback. The design wasn't done in a way that would be able to be brought into something that could really grow and really impact people. So around the same time, there was a lot going on in my life. It's becomes a realization that, on paper, my life was really good. I had this successful dental practice. I was married. I had 2 wonderful kids, a boy and a girl, like really, like it was everything. But I was not happy. I was married to an individual that did not want to keep growing, that did not want to keep moving forward in life, that was fine at like, I was approaching 40 and he was in his 40s, and he was like, no, I actually think I'll work less, and, looking to when he could retire. And I'm sitting there thinking, why on earth would you look to retire? And we were not aligned in that, and it became very obvious. And so, I eventually was just like, I cannot bring this person along on a journey that they're not going to contribute to. And if I don't have a partner, it wasn't aligned on where I was going. So, we got a divorce. It was, fairly amicable as far as they go at the time. And I stayed in Central Illinois, and my kids, it's never fun to go through that, but, I maintained the practice. He actually worked for me in the practice, but it was about that time that, it was still like, not sure, kind of a rocky thing of what do we do? Do I try to start again and move this product business forward? And that was right around the time of the pandemic. And so I think so many things in 2020, people thought, well, that'll never happen. I won't ever do that. But they did. So, I looked at, just was getting to the point where I was like, maybe I'll relaunch this. And you got to decide, are you going to put some funding behind renaming it, doing more tooling, really getting, a branding person and setting this up the right way? And then you're forced to shut down your dental office. And I had a team of 20 that I had to decide, can I pay them, or do they have to go on unemployment, or how are we going to get through this? And we did. And it was, just like before, not always the most graceful thing in the world, but we figured it out. And 2020 was one of our best years ever. But during that time, I actually spent some time traveling down to Dallas for some product development. They have a market down there. I found a manufacturer in Dallas. I was out in Arizona where my mother was at the time during part of that when I couldn't work, just moving back and forth. And it really was like, it got me in the thought of, I don't know that Central Illinois is where I want to stay. It's small town, some small mindsets. And so I made the decision at the end of 2020 to move to Dallas, to sell my practices to my associates and move to Dallas. A lot of back and forth travel to see my kids. Decided it was best for them to stay there, which again is not a decision that most people make, most women especially. So it's been a challenge, but it's also been fun to travel with them and fun to, realize that the world is a bigger place than the small town that they're growing up in. So that's been a good lesson for them to learn as well. Bought a practice in Dallas. So kind of went from this large group practice where, as I was honing my dental skills and really getting to do the type of dentistry that I wanted in more complex ways for restoring worn down teeth, starting to understand why things were breaking, why things were not working with patients, I went back to a 4-person office in a very nice part of Dallas. And it was kind of almost coming back home, like when I started, but I knew so much more. So the treatment I could do was so much better. It was the culmination of a career that, again, a lot of learning, a lot of journey. But those women that I worked with, we were all in our upper 30s, 40s. One of them was knocking on 50's door, kind of like I am right now. But it was something that the best group of people to work with. But still, I was trying to launch Louis, and I decided to relaunch it. And so during that time, I'm like in a bigger city, I'm meeting more people, finding ways to make connections. Brought the product back out, brought the lip balm and dental floss back out, along with another patented product, a flossing disc. And during that time, the person that helped me with that turned out to be kind of a bad actor. So the group and the people that were manufacturing for us overseas in China ended up stealing my molds and ransoming them. So I could not make any more product, had to make a decision again. Do you want to do this, and what do you want to do? So lots of uphill things, but there's always ways to get through. And it was at that time when I was starting to gain some confidence and traction of the products that we were bringing to market, meeting the right connections, that I was like, man, I need to go to this meeting. I need to see this person, but I'm also clinically treating patients and running and operating a dental practice. It was getting really hard to balance the two. And that was in like the summer of 2023. And I just started to think, man, should I try this full time? Am I confident enough to leave the business that has made me successful? And it's the only business that I've known for almost 2 decades. And so I was kind of struggling with that as we went into the fall of 23, and my mom suddenly passed away. She had a brain hemorrhage, very unexpected. Then, had a surgery and never woke up from that. And there was something in that in a way, my mom became my first angel investor. She gave me the confidence to move forward with the sale of the practice, go out on my own, and a little bit more comfort behind it. And knowing that when my mom was going through school, she had always told my sister and I that at that time, you had the choice of she was from a small town in Iowa. You had the choice of being a nurse or a teacher. And she was a nurse. And it was like, well, my sister and I, obviously, we got to do really cool things. I'm a dentist. My sister's a doctor of pharmacy, and great. But man, I bet she would have never had the opportunity to do what I can try to do with Louis. And so that brought me to 2024, which was a kind of crazy year of learning so many new things, bringing a new product to market that I thought would be ready in the spring, and it wasn't ready till October. And, all of those fun hurdles and stepping stones that we learn and that we experience. And but it did bring new life into the company. I became a full-time entrepreneur in a product-based business, which while I'm not a first-time entrepreneur, I got my chops in the service industry. That's what dentistry is. And like a lot of service industries, if you have a good service, if you're good at what you do, and if you're nice to people, you're going to be successful. And what I've learned from the product-based business side is it's only going to work if people know about you. It's only going to work if you can get that product into the hands of the right people who will showcase it, who will market it properly. And so that's where we are today. We've had some growth. We've seen an expansion of our product line. Currently, for those of us in Texas, we are in the Central Market chain of stores. So you can come find Louie at your local Central Market. It's one of my favorite places to shop. We're expanding into a similar size store and group up in the Kansas City area. And we're seeing success on Amazon, just launching out our TikTok shop this summer. And so kind of seeing this growth and then starting the movement into national retail in the next year. Bigger orders, bigger marketing spend. And again, more learning for me to do. So that's my story. It wasn't very short, but definitely, yeah. Definitely got me to where I am in a unique situation where, happy to be here. Do love to be challenged, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm done with the challenge. Let's get something easy.
Right. So I love it. And I want to ask you so many questions from the technical side, the Louis and the concept, because I love it. But I want to take one step back because I don't want us to overlook something important, Dr. Amanda. I mean, you lost the life you have built almost all at once. Your marriage, your sense of stability, and the future you thought you were creating. What was the moment you decided you will rebuild in your own terms? And what kept you moving forward when giving up would have been the easier way?
Well, I loved doing dentistry. I loved being the owner and manager of a dental office, and I had a great team. It was a big team. It was a staff. It was, knowing those people, especially I'd gotten divorced and the divorce was finalized a year before COVID, but having those people with me alongside as I went through that, and then going into this uncertain time of going like, whoa, I owed it to them. I mean, some of my people had been with me from that very first office. My assistant had been with me that whole time. My office manager had been with me a decade. And as we'd seen growth and success, it's like, I knew I owed it to them. I had 2 young kids, and kids watch what you do more than what you say. And if you keep going and you continue to work, there were late hours going and doing a lot of things. And then again, trying to kind of launch the other business on the side, trying to move what became Louie and launching that out. Moving through adversity again is something I think that a lot of people do. But again, I had 2 little ones watching me. And so I had to, at the time, try to make sure that I did it the best way that I could, which, hey, it wasn't always perfect. And there are so many things I look back on and I go, ooh, ouch, maybe shouldn't have done that one. But, I mean, you can't go back and beat yourself up for things that you did in the past. One of the things that I think helped me, like with the mindset thing, is I've been a runner since I was like 7. I ran my first road race. My dad, ran, my mom ran. My mom always said she just ran so that she could eat more. And but we all kind of still, my dad doesn't run anymore. He's got a bum leg. He bikes now, but I still run. I don't run competitively, but I did in high school and into college. And when you're a distance runner, you train and you run out. If you're on a 5-mile run and you fall 2 miles into it, you have to get up and get back home. I grew up in the 90s, so I'm running when I didn't have a cell phone. The cell phone was like this big, I remember they had skip-proof CDs. I remember running with this skip-proof CD player all around town. But, you fall down, and that happens when you're out running enough. You have to get up and go back, even if it hurts, even if you're kind of scared because you fell. And so I think that same mentality kind of gets you through a lot of things. And one of the reasons I don't think either of my kids like distance running, but I'm like, oh, you guys need to do it. It's so good for you. So
I mean, it's challenging. Running is one of those things. I love playing sport, but running for me is so difficult. But to your point, when we get involved in activities like that and you fall, it's like it takes a lot of resilience to stand up. For some people, it's just stand up, and for some people, it's like they go through so many emotions. And I have a question for you before we move on with Louis, because I want to ask you a couple of questions about that. So you mentioned that you love owning. And do you think this is because of the control, or because it allows you to build something that reflects who you are?
that is a great question. And I would say there's aspects of both. So again, we watch things around us. Like I watched my dad own, but I also watched him miss out on some things. I watched him miss out on things in our childhood growing up. My mom was able to be there more because of the long hours that he put in. So I understood the sacrifice, but I also understood that it was cool. I went and worked at his pharmacies after I graduated high school. I guess I could work at the front counter when I was in high school, like in the summers, but and then my sister and I also delivered medication. So people respected my dad, especially in the really small town that one of his pharmacies was in, like town of 800 people. And everyone knew me because they knew my dad. And that personal connection that he had with everybody there, the respect that I saw him earn, was something that I think I always wanted to be able to have that connection, be able to have that, communication with people in the community. And, it's self-respect that you have for putting in that work and just a work ethic that get to fulfill, but it's also the ability to really feel like you have an impact on the community. So I'd say but then there is also the aspect of control. I haven't worked for anyone else in 20 years. It's going on 20 years this year. So I think I might be a horrible employee. I'd be like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But it's the ultimate, you're putting yourself out there, because if I screw up or someone on my team does, it's ultimately my fault, and that's something that I've learned to accept. And, what I think is what challenges, there are certain people that I don't know that they're ever wanting to own something, probably because of that, because of the buck stops here. If it's my call, it's my fault if it goes right or wrong.
Yes. Yeah, correct. It's so interesting. We were having that conversations, a few friends, and I told them the same thing. I'm like, at this moment of my life, I will be the worst employee. I can't, I'm mentally unemployable.
Yeah. It's not because I can't do the work. It's because I'd be like, ooh, are we sure we're doing this the right way?
Yes, is that thing. I have one more question, because I think in regards to this, and then we will move on with Louis. But do you think, or do you ever find yourself building in a way that will make your dad proud, or continuing something that he started in you?
I think there is definitely some of that. He's always been a great supporter. Actually, our flossing disc that we have for Louis, that is our number one selling product. He's the person that told me to do that. I was making the lip balm and dental floss 2-in-1, which we hope to relaunch next year. It's ready, but that's one of those items that we're waiting for some things to come through in a retail channel to make that happen. But my dad was like, I love you, support what you're doing, but I'm never going to carry that. And he's right. I've never seen my dad carry lip balm or chapstick ever. He goes, you need to make the floss pick better. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that. So I literally drew it on a napkin and was like, hey, I talked to my product designer. I'm like, I came up with this. Can you help me make this like something? I'm thinking in this container. I just want it to be easier for people to carry and use. I don't want it to poke a hole in their shirt and all of that stuff. So, but there's definitely the spirit, Louis definitely is his spirit. It was his nickname in high school. Then my sister and I kind of became Louis and Little Louis. And it's the yeah, it is that true spirit of entrepreneurship that's in there, and the strive to continue to move forward. And of course, really, my mom is in there as well. She's, again, my first angel investor, and somebody who I a lot of times think, even when this is hard, I don't want to let either of them down. I don't want to let my kids down by doing that. So it's pride in oneself, but also the knowledge that there are people that came behind me and that are coming, that I will come, that will be in front of me. And those are the people that we continue to work hard for.
I love it. I love it. I mean, if you think, I think about it, I'm listening to this and it's like your dad gave you the spirit and your mom put her money beyond what she believed it was in you, which it tells how a lot of women invest, right, in different aspects. We put our money where we think we value or we align with that specific goal. I love it. I love it. So, Dr. Amanda, you were creating a product designed to help people, women, smile with confidence. At the same time, your own life was probably stealing your smile. How much of Louis was a business idea, and how much of it was you trying to find your own smile again?
I think a lot of it was, when you do the same thing for a long time, even though every day in a dental office is different, and I do mean every day is different, there is a bit of monotony that comes from that. And I'm a person who always likes a challenge. So I know part of Louis was continuing that challenge. And even though challenges are difficult, that I know in my own personality and makeup that when I am working on something and for something, I'm in a better spirit, especially if other things in the background aren't going so well. When you go through a divorce and you have your kids around you all the time and now you don't have them as much, I would put in long hours at the office. I would do things to work on Louis. And I did that, I'm sure, to kind of push away some of the fact that this was a whole new life and what I was doing. Also, when I moved to Dallas, I didn't really know many people there. So put in a lot of hours working to get through something. So it gave me a goal. It gave me something that I felt I could strive towards. And yes, that helped a lot. The main aspect of it, though, is really I have the intention to make smile care part of a beauty routine, not just something that I hope you do in the morning, not just
Mhm.
something that, did you floss tonight? Because we use our mouths all day long. We communicate, like, even in this interview, and on so many people after COVID were for the first time looking at themselves going, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's what my teeth look like. So there actually was an uptick in some forms of cosmetic dentistry, tooth whitening, but just an awareness of, like, because you were looking at yourself for the first time. But so people they need solutions on the go. And that's what the first products that we brought to market were. I would have patients all the time that'd be like, oh yeah, sorry, I was busy today. And my thought with that was, you knew you had an appointment and were coming to see me, and you didn't do anything. Like, what do you like on a normal day? You need to think about pulling out a piece of floss. Like, they just couldn't get that out of, okay. But so I think that was another thing. It's like, it needs to be convenient, it needs to be ready for on the go, because that's what our lifestyles are, especially women. We're running all
Yeah.
around. And how can we, how can we bring products to market that are going to fit into a woman's lifestyle, that are going to instill confidence, and that, ultimately are going to help a person with the way that they feel. But unlike lipstick or mascara, if you take care of your smile, you're improving not just your smile, but you're improving your overall health. So I found that mentally, as I worked on the company, that helped my mental state. And a smile is known to do that. Sharing a smile, just smiling, can increase your own level of happiness subliminally, even if you don't know it. Just so it's kind of a cool thing to know that there is that much of a connection.
Yes. I mean, I love what you're sharing because it's part of who you are, how you feel, and how you present yourself, no matter where you go. And I remember every time I go to the dentist, oh, where's my toothbrush and this and like it's a reminder, constant reminder. Now, you spend 20 years watching women, people worry more about their, mostly women, right? About their lipstick on their teeth than the health of their teeth underneath. What did that teach you about the difference between how women look and how women actually feel?
The latter part of my career, I started to really get into more my dental practice career. I started to get into more overall health and wellness, and there is such a connection to the mouth and to your overall health. And I think women were hitting like the age I was hitting, like in your late 30s, early 40s, into 50s. Women can start to feel a little run down, and we're going through changes hormonally and all of these things, so they still want to look good, and they're striving to find all these ways to look good, but it's really to feel good. I mean, looking good brings them the confidence to put themselves out there. A smile is a big part of that, but also what I came to learn, and what then I actually did on myself, is it has so much to do with the structure of your face and your smile. It has to do with breathing and airway, and where is your tongue posture? Where where does your smile sit in your face, for lack of a better, try to make it easy for people to understand. There are a lot of women that, as we go through hormonal changes of perimenopause and menopause, lose some of the protection that helps our airway, that helps us to be stable and to breathe. So sometimes people, that their anatomy isn't quite right, that they have small jaws, set back teeth, they start to have trouble sleeping and they don't really know it. So that isn't just about oral health, that's about overall health, and it has to do with breathing. So my other fun thing I did in 2024 is I had a double jaw surgery. I broke both jaws and moved them forward so that I could breathe better. That had to do with my mom as well. My mom was, and I was, one of those people with a setback chin and face. And what ultimately I believe um, was a cause of what happened to my mother was something that happened 90 minutes into her sleep, a sleep cycle, a stress that hit at that. And it probably, in my estimation, had something to do with the way she breathed at night. And I had studied it and looked at it, but she was a nurse and she changed my diapers. So I was not going to tell her what she was going to do. And so that also in the change of my career, I ended up changing my overall health and wellness. And I can't even tell you the impact that dentistry had on my life. In my person, I never knew that I could sleep the way that I do now. It actually is part of that journey, is what is behind our latest product launch, which is called a Restore Ritual. It's a 2-in-1 lip tape and lip balm. So mouth tape can reduce snoring by up to 30%, can positively affect sleep disturbed breathing by that same amount or more. People that grind their teeth or wear a night guard or wear something else may just need to tape their mouth shut and breathe through their nose. And most people don't know that. And your dentist is probably the only one that can tell you, but only if they're trained. So it again, very full circle in the way that women look and feel. Putting your face in the right place does change your looks. And it usually, if your smile is big and broad, it enhances your looks, but you're also healthier because you can breathe better. So orthodontics, moving teeth into the right place, teaching someone where to put their tongue on the roof of your mouth, very, very dental based things have a huge impact on overall wellness, way beyond beauty. But you almost never find somebody with a great setup of their teeth and jaw that isn't also attractive. So they very, very, very well connected. Those women that look good without much makeup usually have good bony structures and their teeth are set in the right place. So yeah, again, bring the smile to the beauty aisle and put it where it needs to be, make it the forefront, and probably spend less on makeup.
I love it. I love it. I mean, Dr. Amanda, you are bringing the other side of dental health, right? That not many people know. You're taking it beyond just cavities, flossing. You're taking it to the point that it feels inside. You're breeding a total wellness approach. What is changing? What new things you are bringing to the wellness of health that people need to know? Because you don't look at the dental health how every other dentist or orthodontics look at it.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be surrounded with people that know this better than I do. My actual partner in life is one of the foremost speakers on this topic in dentistry. just brought 100 dentists from all over the country into San Antonio 2 weeks ago to discuss this topic for the third year in a row, and it's just grown and grown. It's really exciting to see more people learning about it and stretching what people thought dentistry was. And again, the overall connection with health and wellness starting in the mouth is becoming more and more known. The mouth tape and lip balm 2-in-1 that we brought to market is just, it's for that. It's for going, okay, yes, you need to floss on the go and worry about your smile, but also it really, if you focus on nasal breathing and keeping your mouth closed as much as possible, you are going to have a better oral microbiome. You're going to sleep better at night. If you sleep better at night, it's beauty rest, it's beauty sleep. It absolutely is what it's cracked up to be, better sleep. You don't need collagen lip tape. Have you ever seen the influencers that spend like, let's get ready for bed with me, and they're spending 45 minutes getting ready for bed? And I want to look at them and go, tape your mouth shut and go to bed. Like get off the screen and just keep your mouth shut and go to bed, because you then actually will get beauty from the inside out because you're getting better sleep. But the other thing, so next year we are looking at launching with Louis a microbiome friendly line of products, an on the go microbiome balancing spray, and then a smile serum, which is meant to be a toothpaste but aesthetically positioned so that it can sit out on the counter and make you go, oh, there's my smile serum, I'm going to brush my teeth because I want. So, it's really targeting the mouth as far as part of the beauty routine. But to me, again, it's about the only part of it that can actually make you healthy.
Wow, I love it. I love it. If I want to ask you so many questions, we're going today, and I'm like, no, we will have to bring you again because there's so many new things coming to you. But more than anything, Dr. Amanda, if people want to know more about what you're doing, what's coming for you, what is the best way to connect?
Well, our website is mylouis.com. We are mylouis on Instagram. My email address is just my name, amanda@mylouis.com. I'm happy to field any questions. If anything, like came up that was like, what did you say about taping your mouth? Oh, I can talk a lot about that. Or any part of the journey, happy to go over. And we are in an interesting time right now, getting ready to launch a new stage of the business. We're in our first funding round. We are just launching this month a seed round. And looking to meet with investors and people who see the vision of the company and want to grow with us. So if anybody here fits that description, again, I'm amanda@mylouis.com, and I'm happy to, schedule a meeting, make some time to go over any aspect of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Amanda, for being with us today. What a delightful conversation, right? Seeing beyond the smile, I gotta say.
I like that. I'll have to remember that line of seeing beyond the smile, because it really, that is a big part of what we do.
Yes, you described that perfectly. That's what it came to my mind, seeing beyond the smile. So love it. Well, thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun, and it's always fun to look back and to, it almost gives you a little bit more fuel for the journey ahead, to not necessarily know where we're going, but have, a positive attitude about getting there.
You've been listening to Catch Her Spark with Jen Maldonado, where bold women lead the way. Ready to share your spark? Apply to be a guest at catchherspark.com/guest.